All right, first and foremost, my name is J.Nolan. Rap name J.Nolan. I'm originally from New Haven, Connecticut, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm 23 years old. Early influences were like Snoop Dogg, DMX. Yeah, I grew up on that stuff, so that's kind of like what got me into music. When I got older, I got into like Nas and AZ. Yeah, that was a big deal for me. Yeah, so I got into that, so that's what made me kind of like start pushing the craft further and got me into lyricism at a different level. When I said this is what I gotta do, it was actually my older brother, 5 years older than me, and he started rapping first. He had a group at the time. I was like 8 years old, and he used to come to Atlanta for the summers, and he was rapping or whatever, and he was just like, hey man, try it. You know, he gave me like a piece of paper, and I was like, man, I don't know how to do that. And he was like, just do it. So I wrote. It was terrible, but I felt good, you know, and he was like saying it was good. So that kind of like started me out, and then after that I stopped, but I picked it up. The Archetype is a 5-track EP that I did with a producer named Reese Jones, who's from Virginia Beach. Basically how it came together was we had been planning to do music for like a year, and he did a song called Chaos Theory. He produced it for me for my album that came out that was titled Chaos Theory. We had gotten so much good feedback from that track because he was putting it on like Kanye West forums and whatnot. And you know, beat makers have a whole society or whatever. So they were like, hey man, you need to do more stuff with J.Nolan. So he hit me up with an email and was like, man, I would like to do some more stuff. And I was like, all right, well, if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it right now. So we finished it up in like 2 weeks and put it out.
Speaking of like the forums and stuff, I mean, how would you say like in the last couple of years with the social networking, how's that have you embraced that, and has it helped out your career?
Yeah, like, man, as much as people try to like say it's not real or whatever, however people may feel about it, that's not positive. It's been the reason why I've been noticed at all. Whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you know, if you could put your music out and get it in front of one person and they like it, they'll retweet it or post the video up, and it'll get to 8 more people and they'll like it, and you know, stuff like that. So it creates a snowball effect. So I love the social networking aspect from, you know, exposing yourself. What ended up happening for me was I started really putting myself out in 2007 when MySpace was kind of like a big deal, and I had gotten like 155,000 profile views, and like people were really kind of liking what I was doing. But then once Twitter came into the fold, I had to start over. Man, I was like, what am I gonna do now? But luckily I had a lot of people that converted from MySpace to Twitter, and they followed me. So I was just getting back to having more fun with music because my previous project before that was kind of very serious. When I listened to it, it was like I liked it, but I seen that it was kind of a dark reflection of who I am. I wanted to bring back the element of fun into my music so people could, you know, be able to relate to me on both sides. So the Archetype was really just me like having fun with lyricism, playing around with different rhyme schemes and stuff like that. Favorite track for me was probably, it's a track called Tonight's the Night. You know who Redman is, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite rappers. He has a song. He has a song of the same title called Tonight's the Night. So we used the same sample from that song and recreated it. I flipped the concept to where it's kind of like describing my situation as it is as an artist and trying to be recognized and also trying to make money off of it. So it's kind of like I set up a scene where I'm doing a show while the crowd is there waiting for me to go on stage. I'm actually camped out in the crowd plotting on like snatching a purse or something because I'm still broke. And going into the reasons of why I would think that way. Yeah, I'm working on 2 projects, man. Well, one has just been completed. It's called Dreams Manifest. And it is a compilation project that I'm doing with my cousin by the name of Young B the Producer. He's an artist and a producer. Basically what we're doing is we're splitting it up where I'll have 4 or 5 solo songs. He'll have 4 or 5 solo songs, and then we'll have like 4 songs that we do together. And just exposing people to our kind of like, I guess you call it a company called the Manifest Movement, where we have me, we have Young B the Producer, and we have 2 other producers by the name of 12 and Originus. Basically, we're just trying to build our own little conglomerate together and see what we can do. There's different subcultures and genres within it, so where if you don't like one certain artist, you have 4 or 5 over here that you might like. You know, so it's kind of, I feel like, for one, lyricism is on its comeback. Then you have people like Rick Ross, who may get chastised by the underground crowd, but his production still reflects his roots of listening to the Nas's and people like Cool G Raps of when they were younger.
Soul in the
Yeah, exactly. You know, so I feel like the bridge is actually coming together between all these different areas of hip hop.
Yeah.
And I think it's good, man. And then it's a lot of love where if you can get to the point where people recognize you, everybody is like willing to work with you as long as you can get there. So
true, yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I love the new Big Crit, man. He's one of
my shit.
okay, with Devin the Dude, right?
Yeah.
Big Crit. He's one of my favorite new artists. I like J. Cole. Kind of getting into A$AP Rocky. I think my favorite song by him is Goldie. I like the fact that he linked up with Hit Boy. That's a different sound for him. I listen to a lot of jazz on my personal time, like when I don't feel like hearing somebody rapping. Me particularly, I would like to work with Nas. He's my favorite rapper of all time. So that would be like a milestone. Nobody could ever say anything. I would like to do a collaboration with someone like Esperanza Spalding. I really enjoy her music. I think we could do something that would kind of like mold jazz and hip hop in a new way. Really like Bilal. I like how his voice sounds on certain types of vibes or whatever, so I think he would fit. Everybody else would be like in the production avenue. 5 years, I would like to be consistently touring, man. I think that's really where everything is right now as far as, you know, monetizing music, getting in front of the crowd and really showing that you can perform your music and make people like it in the physical, you know, and translate it from records.
I mean, speaking of the jazz and stuff like that and live music, would you consider having like a live band maybe? Like,
yeah, man, everybody suggests that, man. I think it would be nice, and I really want to get into that, hopefully within the next year or so. I really want to start getting into doing that. And they could contact me on Twitter at J_Nolan, which is spelled Nolan, of course. They could get at me on Facebook. They could like go on, I don't know the exact URL, but if you like just put J.Nolan into the search on Facebook, I'll be the first thing that comes up. They can go to my website to hear my music, jnolaniscool.bandcamp.com. And if anyone actually wants to work with me or anything like that, they can reach me at jnolanmusic@gmail.com.
And that scraper like the Cape Crusader. Do me a favor, tell your neighbors it's a fundraiser. The foundation is mine, taking my time, now I'm taking your shine. Call up the fader.